Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Robert.
And we're with the RoPax group here in San Antonio, Texas. And today is April 14th.
2022.
And we are going to be talking about
luxury homes and the state of the luxury home market here in San Antonio, Texas.
Exciting.
It is super exciting because it's very different today.
Very different. So to give you a little history about San Antonio, we've been primarily like a lot of military city USA is our nickname.
Very affordable housing.
Very affordable
housing.
Known for that. Known for that, right. And then 2020 hit. And so we're going to talk about a little bit today about like the inventory crisis. I mean, we're seeing that across the U.S. as a whole, but it's even worse in our higher end homes. So let's talk about.
Interesting. So 31 years ago, I started off my career in the Dominion. And so I have a different take and perspective on the luxury home market. So to see where it's at now today, and you can even say this having started 12 years ago, than it was when I started, it's vastly different. I remember back then, Dominion and Sonterra, those were the only two really nice places to be. Now there's a myriad of places. I mean, there's so many different places you can build and own your luxury home. But to see how few are on the market today, it's mind-numbing. It's honestly, it's kind of scary, to be honest.
Yeah. So when we talk about pre-existing homes, a lot of these homes already have their landscaping, the pools. When we look at the shortages and the supply chain shortage, it's really kind of interesting when somebody's building a house now, the extra cost, not only just to build, but to finish it out with, you know, your exterior features. So let's talk about the pre-owned houses. So we're seeing them fly off the shelves right now just based on the fact that there's just not a whole lot of inventory.
Right.
So tell me what you're seeing.
So it's almost like, you know, in the height of COVID, where we would have 35 people standing outside to see a $400,000 house. I mean, so it's not that crazy. But, for example, we had one listing at $1.9 million, and in 48 hours, we had 17 showings and multiple offers well over the asking price. We did not have one person looking for a deal or anything like that. I mean, deals do not exist. So to see that level of activity in that upper tier price point when, 10, 15 years ago, you were lucky if you had 6 showings in 6 months. I mean, you're having 10 showings on the first day on market. It's really wild where we're having to tell our people, hey, go to the JW or go out of town for the weekend or something like that, because it's just going to be a turnstile of people. Right. So that's what I'm seeing is just the amount of traffic.
Yeah. And so also is the speed of which they're selling as far as, typically in the past, it would be no big deal if a house sold. It took a year to sell totally a home over $1 million.
And it was going to sell for under asking price.
Yes. And in this market, I mean, they're literally selling in like 2, 3, 4 days. Yeah. Like we have people out of state wanting to come in, and they're selling before they can get here to see them in person.
They cannot get here fast enough to see the homes. There was one at $2.9 million in Huntington, which is an absolutely stunning location here in San Antonio on the north side of town, and beautiful house, single level, and single level luxury homes are at a massive premium right now. And I told the client, I said, the full expectation is that it will not last over the weekend. So by the time you get here on Tuesday, it's probably not going to be here. Sure as heck, on Monday, I get a cancellation for our appointment.
Yeah.
Seller accepted cash offer.
Yeah.
Your appointment has been canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have to retrain my brain because I'm so used to, how it was years ago. And then just to see the level of activity. My thoughts, and this, you can chime in, we're just seeing such a different level of money enter the city that we never saw before.
So let's talk about that for a minute, because I'm from California, and I always hear it's the Californians coming in, buying everything up. But that's just simply not true.
No.
Though they are a large part of our market, we're seeing people from all over the country, including our sister cities like Austin and Dallas and Houston. A lot of Houstonites are moving here, or Houstonians, I should say.
Houstonians.
Austinites, Houstonians.
Or at least people that are entertaining the Austin area, and then once they see that Austin is basically LA pricing.
That's what
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, the other day I saw a home, it was at almost $2,000 a foot. $2,000 for Texas. Wow. Austin, Texas, 75 miles, north of where we are, $2,000 a foot. which is going to bring me to this comment. So price per foot right now is through the roof. And this, my theory is the reason why, the good existing homes are selling is because they're selling, somewhere in the vicinity of around 300, maybe 350 a square foot. You can't duplicate that house at that price.
Recreate that house, yeah.
One of our clients, he has about a $3.9 million house that we're breaking ground on, and the pricing is upwards of $550 a foot. And that's just normal now.
Yeah.
It really is just normal for the upper tier price point. And a lot of that, like you said, with supply chain issues, a lot of that has to do with that. I mean, your Gaggenau, your Viking, your Fisher Paykel, all of these appliances are so difficult to get.
Right.
Ryan Sirhan did a video of a house in Dallas the other day. It was like, 18 million or something like that. And the house happened to have his same stove that he has in his Brooklyn house. And he was like, I could pull mine out and I could sell it for 3 times more than what I paid for it. It's because you can't get the damn things. That's why.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when you look at the cost of landscaping and what it costs to put a pool in these days, I mean, a luxury home is a luxury.
Yep.
It really is in this market. I mean, it's very difficult to find. And so how are people finding these houses? Because when you look on the multiple listing service, like a lot of agents will do, there's not really anything. So where are people finding these houses?
A lot of times you're going to be trading these homes off market. Many times you have to really be in the know. You know this, we're known for what we sell. And many times, like you got a text message last night from one of your peers offering up this, $1 million plus house that's not on the market. Many times we're having to, we're not adversaries here. If we have a buyer and someone has a seller, we're just trying to make a deal happen. So we're working in conjunction with other agents that specialize in that upper tier market. And many times they're whisper sales or at least private MLS sales, not available to the public. So, when people come into this market and they're picking an agent from Zillow or somewhere, that agent, while they might be great, but if they don't deal in that luxury market, you could be missing your dream home.
Right.
Because they don't know who to call, they don't know who to network with.
And when you're signing the listing agreement, you pretty much already know who your first 8 to 10 calls are going to be to.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And so they're getting first right
Absolutely.
on those houses.
Because they have that caliber of buyer. Exactly, that buyer pool for sure.
So whatever ends up on the market is pretty kind of much leftovers.
Yeah.
So which is kind of unfortunate, but it is just the way, that market works, because a lot of these people don't want to go on the open market. They don't want people traipsing through their house and, with their expensive things. And, so it makes sense that, it'd be easier just to do a deal, quietly.
Absolutely.
But one thing this market is definitely not, and that is a market where you could negotiate.
Oh, gosh.
I had a buyer basically looking at that one you were talking about in the Huntington, and he was like, that price seems pretty high. And I'm like, yeah, because you've been in San Antonio too long. And he was like, do you think they'll, work on the price? I said, I think they don't need to, and it'll be gone this weekend. And sure enough, I sent him a text, and he was like, wow. Yeah. So this is not a market. And when you're spending that kind of money, typically in the past, people want to be sure. I mean, when they're investing their money into a property, that's where they're going to raise their family. It's like they take time. It usually would take a few weeks before a transaction would happen. And now it's a matter of hours, a matter of days.
Very much so. We had that client come in from Arizona, and they were up to about $1.7 million. They came in with, it was 2 days of looking, now that I think about it. I was going to say 3, 2 days of looking. And they had every intention of going under contract in those 2 days. They knew what to expect because they were coming from a market in which their home, in not even 3 years, had doubled in value. They paid $1 million, they sold it for $2 million, literally doing nothing to the house. That's just how the market changed there. So they knew it was a very fast-paced market in San Antonio and New Braunfels, ultimately where they purchased, and they were prepared to make a decision. You can't vacillate right now.
And that's just the importance right now of the discovery conversation you're having with a client, is you kind of got to prepare them for all that. You've got to have everything ready to go, because, the people who, what do they say? If you sleep on it, you won't sleep in it.
You won't sleep in it. If you sleep on it, you won't sleep in it.
Yeah, and that's never been before in
No.
this upper end market, which is kind of interesting.
It is.
So I know the elephant in the room is interest rates. How are interest rates going to affect the market? I still hear people thinking that there's going to be a housing crash, that, we're going to see prices drop. What is your take on?
I'll speak for the luxury side of things, since I've been doing that so long. I don't think pricing is going to drop anytime soon on the luxury segment. I think so many things are tied to, trades, materials, the supply chain and everything else to be able to build these particular homes. I just don't see the pricing going down. I mean, I feel it's going to pretty much stay that way. The difference is San Antonio, having been always that affordable city, and now with the migration of people with vastly different wealth than this city has ever seen, it's changing the landscape here. So I feel people are wanting different expectations. They're wanting different levels of homes. I remember 30 years ago, it was traditional or Mediterranean. That was it. Those are your choices.
You got to pick from,
I mean, just moments ago, one of our $2 million clients was texting us an Adobe house, and I'm like, that's definitely not a popular look here in San Antonio. But you have your transitionals, you have your contemporaries. I mean, you have so much more to choose from. And I feel with more of these people coming in from all of these markets all over the place, it's only going to change the landscaping, which I'm excited about. When we go to Houston, what do we see? Everything.
I mean,
it's super cool.
Well, we love food and we love cars.
Clearly.
And that's why we go to Houston, because of their food. And it's just, it's fun to go look at all the cars. But we never saw, you would rarely see an exotic on the road. And now in this, today, you can, every day I see them.
Yeah.
And a few. So it's really kind of exciting, and it's not just that one guy that has it.
Right,
It used to be.
It used to be that one guy
it's
that
like,
had it.
that's a new one. I have not seen that one before. I mean, so it's really
Yeah.
fun to see the wealth coming into our little city of San Antonio.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how it's evolving. And my prediction is the city's not going to look like the city that it is now, even 5 years from now. I really feel we are going to change dramatically in a good way. I think this city has always needed more of that metropolitan feel, and having people come in from so many different areas, they are going to have their expectations of food, entertainment, culture, things of that nature. So education, right? I mean, I personally, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
It's something that I think San Antonio's needed for a while. So it's really neat to be here at that time to see all of this change and movement and excitement. So, and some frustration, because yes, there are buyers that are very frustrated right now trying to find their home.
Very frustrated, and I feel for them. But when you think about Austin, which you said earlier, that's 75 miles north of us, and I mean even closer to New Braunfels, I mean, look at they're still getting bargains here.
Right.
This is still super cheap for a family to come by here.
Agreed. It's super cheap in the $500,000, depending where they're coming in from the United States, even to the multi-million dollar. We love to watch, the multi-million dollar, or is it the $1 million listing shows, and we'll see something here in San Antonio that'll be, 2.5, maybe 3 million. Then you see it on the other side of the United States, and it's 5, 6, 7, 8 million. And it's like, wow, it is a value. So that upper tier buyer that's looking for that super high end luxury home, I mean, they don't need to spend as much as they would spend in another market and have the same level of home.
Well, and that takes me to the land values. So we're very fortunate here, opposed to like Houston and Austin. They're so built out. They don't have the amount of land that we have here. However, lots and prices are going up.
Dramatically.
It is expensive, but we still have a lot of land, which is exciting because it's not super far out. I mean, San Antonio still feels small. I mean, when we're in Houston, it just feels like it goes on and on and on. Right. I mean, you still can get anywhere you need to. Even with traffic, you can still get anywhere you need to be within 30 to 45 minutes. Sure. So I think, which is kind of great and they're working on a lot of our highways right now, which is really great. So there's still a lot of opportunity here.
There's opportunity. However, what I'm seeing is lots that sold even as far back as just 2 years ago for $175,000. Now a lot would be $300,000, $350,000 if you can get them. That's just it. development has actually been quite slow on your upper tier properties. So persons that are holding on to those lots and they have not built on them yet are sitting on little gold mines right now because people are willing to pay big dollars to get their hands on a lot in which they can build their house.
So let me ask you this, and I'm just curious as your thoughts, because I have my thoughts on this. Is building prices going to go down?
I don't think so.
I mean, isn't it typical in the past? It's not like gas, right? It seems like once people just get used to a certain number,
that's the new norm.
that seems to, right?
Yeah.
So, I've heard people, we're going to wait to build until building prices come down. And obviously, I don't have a crystal ball.
No.
But I've just known in my 48 years on this earth that anytime something goes up, it pretty much stays there unless there's so much demand, or not demand, but inventory that it goes down. But I don't see how that's possible.
I distinctly remember when I started my career 31 years ago at the Dominion, and when we would put something under contract, and it was like $95, $97 a foot, and we were like praying that the place appraised. Well, you can't find a house for $97 a foot right now. You couldn't find one 5 years ago. You couldn't find one 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What makes you think pricing is going to go down? It's exactly like you said. Once that bar has been set.
Yes,
it's
the new expectation.
It's just the new norm.
And when you look at the graphs, I mean, they go up and they don't. I mean, they don't go down.
They don't go down.
So, everybody wanting the crash to happen, I think we're all like deep down inside hoping something happens, but
I don't see it happening.
unless it affects everyone, which would be catastrophic, which no one wants, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either.
Yeah.
I think the market is here to stay. I think, speaking for San Antonio, I think the market is here to stay. I think the market is here to grow. I know the market's going to continue to evolve here, and just to continue to expand to different offerings and everything else. It's not going down.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. I don't know. Look, watch this video 5 years from now and you can tell us.
Well, and then the thing I really wanted to talk about, the thing that is on everybody's mind right now, because we just got our tax bills 2 weeks ago. No one likes that, but taxes. Everybody thinks because of taxes, it's going to bring down, prices. Tell me your thoughts on that. And I know it's different in the luxury market, but even in the more median price market.
Yeah. I personally think that in the luxury tier, it's not going to affect, that owner or that buyer. It is what it is. It's the pay to play. If you want to live in that house, this is what you have to pay. I feel where it's definitely going to vastly hit the San Antonio market is definitely in the more entry level, where you have people on fixed incomes, things like that. Their increase is 20-30% year over year if that's what it comes out to.
Well, and Austin's a perfect example of all the homeless people. I mean, that's my fear, and I know there's so many people in our city that are working so hard to help with this situation. But yes, I mean, that's a big deal there because people have been just priced out of their homes.
Yeah, I think that my prediction is within the next 12 months, we are going to see more of that affordable housing hit the market just because persons are going to be hit with a tax bill that they can't afford. Then what's going to happen? They're either going to go to a rental or figure out some other type of family living, which would bring me to like multi-generational living. I showed a house about 3 months ago in New Braunfels at Vintage Oaks, and this was about a $1.6 million house. And it had a multi-generational lifestyle floor plan within the same roof. And it was really cool because you walked through the garage and you walked into the apartment, for grandma or mom, dad, whatever. And it had its living space. It had a very, very nice kitchen, double ovens, granite everywhere, bedroom, dining area, all under the same roof. I think, and you can tell me what your thoughts are, I think we're probably going to start seeing more of this. And that house is in a multiple offer, by the way. So a lot of other people thought it was cool.
I think that's going to be a big thing coming up in the next few years is people are going to go ahead and say, okay, we're going to build bigger, but we're going to have our whole family living under one roof in a lot of, especially as different cultures move in as well, because that's so much more acceptable.
Exactly. It's just normal. I mean, it's normal in other cultures for sure.
And in San Antonio in past, most of our wealth came from our friends from the South. A lot of our Mexican nationals were bringing money in. And anytime it was a big sale, it was generally from somebody putting money here from Mexico.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing that anymore. you know, which is really weird. I've seen less and less of that.
Well, I know for a fact many of them have been kind of now jumping over San Antonio and going straight to the Woodlands. The Houston area has definitely seen a big increase, but San Antonio has not. So you're right. You know, in the past, whenever there was a big sale, odds are it was someone from Mexico that was buying it.
Yeah.
Now it's someone from
everywhere. Yeah, everywhere, and just getting out of those bigger markets and coming here. Because I mean, I could sell at a premium in Austin right now.
Right.
I can come buy the same house or better here, and I'm like, I've got a nice fat bank account, you know.
Right.
So it is definitely, you know, changing. I think COVID really changed the way everybody is living now and thinking now, and it's just definitely interesting. But I think it's a huge benefit to our lovely city here in San
100%.
Antonio.
COVID changed the game around here. I mean, there have been more, like in the last 12 months, more luxury sales than like the last 5 years combined here in San Antonio. So the statistics and the graphs are nuts. It's mind-boggling, honestly.
Yeah.
And my prediction is it's just going to continue to trend in a very aggressive upward trajectory. That's my thoughts.
For the first time last year, when I would get a call in the past that said, oh, we're coming in, we have $1 million, we want to buy a little ranchette, a little house, we want to live in Fair Oaks Ranch or Bernie. I'm like, oh, cool, totally. Now I'm like, it doesn't even exist.
Yeah. I've heard you say that to so many people.
Yes.
Sir, ma'am, that doesn't exist.
No.
And it's a shame.
It's
I mean, because
shame.
it used to exist.
So they're
and you'd have
having to go
plenty.
to Floresville, they're
Yeah.
having to go to Bandera, they're having to go way out. But our little Bernie Fair Oaks area is tight, and it's gotten very expensive.
Yeah, we just sold that one in Bernie at almost 1.3 million. You know, in downtown Bernie. Numbers here are definitely
That would have sold for 600 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the other thing is like the increase of percentage, like, you know, when you look across the board of like how much these homes have gone up, when you look like percentage wise, I would say, and I need to go do my numbers to check this, but just from what I've been seeing casually, the numbers in the luxury market have gone up exponentially over all of the other housing price points.
Yeah.
So, and it's just kind of crazy to see. So anyways, but it's exciting. So if you are thinking about making a move to San Antonio, please give us a call. We would love to visit with you. Like Robert said earlier, we're very blessed to have a lot of connections in the industry, and we would definitely love to help you find your next home here.
Definitely. We have lots of properties off market as well. And if we don't have access to it, we will find access to it.
We will find it. We are passionate about that for sure. And I love making cold calls, so I'll call anyone.
Definitely click the subscribe button that we subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're always putting tons of content out, and we love to bring different thoughts and just different things about San Antonio and the luxury market to our viewers. So click subscribe, and we're here if you need us.
And if you are not wanting to move to San Antonio, but one of, a different area in San Antonio, we have a lot of connections all around the country.
All markets.
And all the markets. So we would love to, set you up with a really great referral if you're interested in, moving in one of these other, areas. So thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for watching.